The most strange mysteries on paternity court.
Did you discuss this with your sister?
I always tell her to tell them. Why don't you tell them before they get too old? Now they're in their 30s and 20s, and she's still standing up there like she don't know what I'm talking about.
She wanted to keep this a secret, her mom. I could have brought this out, but due to her wishes, which is wrong, we did this.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats because we're about to dive headfirst into the dramatic world of paternity disputes. The plaintiff had quite a long history with the defendant, but even more were her equally strange circumstances. While the daddy was sure he was the father, the daughter, not so much.
Mr. Fagan, you claim you kept this secret for 40 years, but now say the DNA will prove your case.
That's right, Your Honor.
Ms. Pinkston, you stand before me without any doubt that Mr. Fagan is not your biological father, and the man who raised you is.
Yes, ma'am.
Picture this. A 16-year-old Miss Pinkston, blissfully unaware, everything seeming a-okay. Then bam, she was introduced to Mr. Fagan, a family friend, who, mind you, claimed to be her father. But here's the twist. She spent her whole life believing another man was her father.
One day, my mom decided to take me with her to a friend's house. My mom calls me to the dining room. She goes, I want you to meet somebody. They get to talking to me, Mr. Fagan, and my mom. Then my mom just says, hey, by the way, this is your father.
Who did you think your father was? Did you know your father?
This is my father.
Now let's talk about the baby daddy's perspective. He and the mom had an affair. Wait a second. While she was married to Mr. Pinkston. Wowza. They agreed to keep it hush-hush. Can you feel the betrayal in the air? I sure can.
The only reason why this all came out, for the cat to get out the bag, is when I was 16, they told me that Kenny was my father. The only reason why was because my mom thought I was dating one of his family members, and that's why they told me. But needless to say, it was not me, it's my sister that was dating his family member.
Imagine the confusion in the Pinkston household. One day, Miss Pinkston believes Mr. Pinkston is her dad. The next day, she's told it's actually Mr. Fagan. The emotional roller coaster is enough to make anyone's head spin. And the plaintiff was even sure the other guy knew he was the actual father. Say what?
He used to come out to the house when my dad was alive, and
Mr. Fagan used to come to your house when your dad was alive?
Yeah.
I did. The secret was still on.
The secret was still on?
Yes.
And so you just come by the house, but
Well,
you were really coming by to see Miss Pinkston?
Well, I was hopefully that she was there, and so I could see her.
Evidence alert. I repeat, evidence alert. Birth certificates and secret keeping galore. Here we come. Miss Pinkston's birth certificate proudly names Mr. Gus Pinkston Jr. as her father. Why, you may wonder? Well, to keep up the charade.
Gus Pinkston Jr.
Correct, that's my father.
We had her believe that too. She wanted to keep this a secret, her mom. I could have brought this out, but due to her wishes, being married, which is wrong, we did this, Your Honor, reluctantly. I did. I went through this. I mean, it hurts to this day to hear her call him father.
So, imagine this. Dad's funeral, a few days after he kicked the bucket. The whole family gathered at Mom's place. And there came the plaintiff, uninvited to the emotional party. Uh-oh! He decided that was the perfect time to drop the bombshell. Talk about crashing a family event, right?
I always knew that she felt Gus was her father. As bad as I wanted her to feel me, I never got that from her. And actually, to this day, I do not have that from her because she does believe he is her father, which I believe this is, and I know this is my daughter, Your Honor. It's in my heart, and I know she is.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the DNA results will finally put this 43-year-long family feud to rest. About time. Was Mr. Fagan the biological father or not? Well, brace yourselves for the courtroom drama that could rival any season finale.
Mr. Fagan.
Yes. Yes.
You are not her father.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord, no.
Oh,
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Welcome to another twisted tale of paternity roller coasters. Two sisters brought the defendant to court, each claiming him to be Daddy Dearest. But hold on to your DNA tests, folks, because their mom, Miss Willis, decided to drop a truth bomb recently. Come on, let's get this party started.
Mr. Moore, you are 100% certain that these are your daughters and the DNA test will prove it. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Willis, you admit you intended to take this secret to your grave and came clean to your daughters only because your sister forced you to admit the truth. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Time to rewind a bit. Miss Monica and Miss Shawanda grew up thinking Mr. Moore was their pops. They had a seemingly solid family dynamic. Mr. Moore played the role of doting dad for over 2 decades. Sadly, that didn't last long, as Mommy set other plans in motion.
He's the only man I ever knew, so it was kind of hurtful, to go to him about the situation, because he is a good father. He always been around, I always knew him to be my father.
When did it come up again?
It came up frequently, like every time, my auntie, she the house where everybody come to. And my family is like blunt, they say what they want to say.
Apparently, the plaintiff ended up hearing some family gossip about her dad not being her real dad. Not something one likes to hear, right? She confronted her mom, and after some initial denial, the beans were finally spilled.
He's the only man that we ever knew, even with my mother. My mother didn't get another boyfriend until after I was grown. So he's been here the whole time.
And that's how you plan to keep it?
Yes, I was.
So this entire situation
lying.
was by design?
Right.
And so you say you would have taken this secret to your grave?
Now, let's delve straight into the emotional turmoil. Mr. Moore thought he was their father. He had been there for them, playing their dad role like a champ. And ta-da! Miss Willis shattered his trust into tiny little pieces. Doubts and betrayal festered, casting a shadow over the family bonds to this day.
Ms. Willis, I want to ask you, what happened during the relationship that you believe another man is Monica's biological father?
I had an affair.
You had an affair.
So she said it was a one-night stand.
It
but
was a
from
one-night stand.
Our relatives, it was an ongoing
That's
situation.
what she always
in
go
the front
wrong.
door
This
out
to other people instead of her mother.
Well, you never told us anything. We wouldn't be here today.
Hold on tight, because we've got evidence. Birth certificates don't lie, right? Well, baby mama had Mr. Moore's name on Monica's birth certificate, and he even cut the umbilical cord. Wow, talk about complicating things beyond measure. But it gets messier with withheld names and doubts thrown into the mix. Woman had no heart.
Did you ever tell the other man you were pregnant and it possibly could be his child?
No.
You didn't tell him. So he does not know
No.
to this day.
No.
You believe Monica is
No.
his biological
He don't
child.
possibly have
He
beautiful
don't.
daughter.
He don't know.
31 years later,
No, he don't know. Never knew.
he don't have the
He
right.
don't even know she exists.
Whew, now that's hurtful.
The confusion was about to hit its peak as the conception calendar was thrown into the mix as well. Miss Willis had an affair, and it did coincide with the conception dates. Oh no! And this news was brought to us through Mommy's sister. My, that's some sister.
Do you know who Monica's father is?
Yeah.
You know
She
what
been
she's
knowing
talking
for a
about.
long time. She ain't just met this man. She been knowing this man.
Did you discuss this with your sister?
I always tell her to tell him. Why don't you tell him before they get too old? Now they in their 30s and 20s, and she's still standing up there like she don't know what I'm talking about. This ain't the first time we had this conversation. We had it all the time.
Time for the big reveal. Drum roll, please. Will Monica's DNA test drop a bombshell or not? We're about to find out. But hold the phone, because Shawanda's results could also flip the script as well. Get ready for an emotional roller coaster, folks, because this case is far from over. Here we go.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Moore, you are not her father. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Moore, you are her father.
Hold on to those gavels, paternity peeps, because we've got a 14-year marriage that's been tossed into the ring of uncertainty and doubt. Miss Sowers was crying foul, labeling Miss Roten all sorts of colorful names, while she also dished out the same to her. Well, it's gonna be one bumpy ride, so better buckle up.
Me and Adam have been married for 14 years. She has tried to destroy my marriage. She's tried to put this baby off on Adam, saying it's his baby. She's tried to file child support papers, which I have right here.
That you asked for.
And you know, the strange thing about it is isn't that something?
Let's set the stage, shall we? Miss Sowers accused Miss Roten of being a homewrecker of epic proportions. But hold on to that moral compass for a while, because Miss Roten was standing her ground, and she was convinced that Mr. Sowers was baby Aiden's papa.
He was just being charming and like trying to be nice and friendly, extra friendly.
What do you mean by extra friendly?
Like
Making
just
the couch
like
look good.
saying I'm beautiful and just all kinds of sweet stuff, like trying to, you know, get in my head.
He just says a few nice things to you and then you end up having sex with him?
It was a lot more than that.
Next up, we have Miss Sowers shedding light on her married life for 14 years, when suddenly, boom, the mistress dropped the bomb that her hubby might have fathered a little bundle of joy. The reaction? Well, let's just say it was less happy baby news and more you're ruining my life vibes.
You just chilling out at your house and someone says, you know your husband's down the street.
Yes, because he was missing a lot, and I wondered where he was.
With me.
Yeah, and he was at her house.
Oh, so he was missing all night?
Show up at my house 3 o'clock in the morning.
So,
Yeah,
he
I
would
did.
show up at your house at 3 a.m.?
Oh yeah, all times of night. Just come in and get in bed with me.
Miss Sowers, at a dramatic twist, wasn't exactly high-fiving anyone over this revelation. He got more doubt than a Game of Thrones fan waiting for that last book to drop. He's feeling betrayed, hurt, and was probably wondering if he'd slipped into an alternate universe where he's suddenly a daddy.
Mr. Sowers, what are you thinking as you're on the couch with your mistress and your wife barges in?
Oh, he's
What
hot.
are you thinking?
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Wow is right, baby. Wow
Highly,
is right.
highly
Wow,
blown away
right.
on that
But you
tip.
ain't-
But
You were blown away?
yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Oh dear, could this drama get any more strange? Finally, we see how this happy news reached the ears of the wifey. Apparently, the news didn't reach her, rather, she reached the news, just like she found out about where the mistress lived. Sneaky.
One day, I come back to the house, and Adam's car was there. I walked in again. There was a guy on a couch, another guy on a couch, and that door was closed. There was something going on in there.
Yeah, it was
so
you and your husband.
I opened the door, and there was a guy on top of her, and I shut the door.
What in the world?
Well, the wife still maintained the claim that there were other possibilities, and there were quite a few of them. However, the defendant still kept denying. Moreover, the baby daddy, it seemed, was also at the hospital at the time of birth. Let's see how that went.
You called me about 2:30 and said, I'm going into labor. I had told the nurse, I said, we're here. Chrissy said, I don't want her in the room.
You're not welcome in my room.
But you called and bring your...
Oh, wait a minute.
No, I did not.
Your husband's mistress calls you to tell you that his baby with her is on the way.
Yes.
No matter, these gals argued like crazy. But wait a minute, there was even more of a twist to the story. By the looks of it, the baby mama had not been so truthful about her birth control. Well, we know how she got into this paternity mess in the first place now, right folks?
You're saying, Mr. Sowers, Ms. Roten said to you, don't worry, I'm on the pill.
Honest to
I put
God,
on my
truth.
son's life. I've never said that.
How this just went on for this long, and it seems like everybody was informed, but it just kept happening. Are you all working on your marriage now, Ms.
We
Sowers?
are doing awesome. We're doing
Thank
better
you.
than
Thank
ever.
God.
Get ready, people, some cringe-worthy content coming right up. It seems just judging the features of the baby wasn't enough for these guys. They had to take it up a notch higher. And then there was a poll on who's the daddy. Yeah, you heard that absolutely right.
Now this is unbelievable.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense to me. Yeah, that
And guess
doesn't make
what?
sense to me.
The town did a poll.
Yeah.
Where did you see this poll?
Oh, it's all over. It's all over Facebook. The whole, everybody knows about
It's
everything.
a social media poll.
Yes.
Well, we got to see new ranges of absurdities and stupidity with this one. All thanks to these guys. But a real baby's fate was at stake here, and it was time to reveal the contents of the envelope that held the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Sowers, you are the father.
Thank you. Have a nice life. What? Nobody's sleeping around, baby. Go ahead.